The following is an excerpt from an askSlim premium level video. Follow us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and do subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Share it. There's tons that come out every single week. Follow us on Twitter at askSlim, and write to Matt at askSlim.com for trial memberships. We have trial memberships available for all of our levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And go to the askSlim.com website for details. Thank you, and enjoy the video. This little clip, the little piece I'm going to do in here on the metals, I really want to isolate out the gold market in our FutureSpeak video here. As we look at 24 different futures contracts, and I don't really ever, very rarely do anything where I bring in anything separate unless I think it's significant, anything additional. And I'm going to do that right now because I think there is something significant in here. So we're going to start out by looking at the gold market. So I'll switch here from the US Canadian to /GC. So here is the gold market coming up, I promise. Right now we're getting a little buffering in here. I hate when that happens, but here we go. So here is your gold market. And these charts in here, of course, extremely busy because I have so much analysis and so many notes on it. So I'm going to simplify things a little bit. And we're in this period right over here, where you can see the major dominant gold cycle, and that is pushing up in a significant way. Our upside projection in gold, when it was way down over here, was to get up to 1760 to about 1850. Now it got up here to 1788 and then reversed. You can see these cycles coming down right over here. This is your silver right there. This is your gold minor right over there. This is your silver dominant, and this is your gold intermediate. All of those are coming down at the same time. What that says to me is that we're in a period of correction in here. Now gold is having a hard time holding back. This is like a horse that just wants to get out of the gate, and you almost can't hold it back. We thought it would come down and test this area in these next weeks, and you could see that it got down there this week. And then started to rebound again. Now, gold's moving up $41, $42 right now. This is on the day when the dollar is up. That's pretty significant. So this is about 3 to 5 weeks in here. The question is it going to wait? Are you going to go through this correction in here before this takes hold again? What is that? That's all of these cycles right in here pushing to the upside. I'm thinking it could be just chopping around in here, but I would not put it past it for this to blast up in here and then have even a more modest correction into this time period before going up to levels maybe before unseen. Now, I'm not a gold bug. I've never been. I'm an analyst that just looks at the patterns and brings you the sum of the evidence and the highest probabilities that I think that I can share with you. And this gold pattern to me is just screaming at me that the correction will be minor if we haven't had it already, and that the upside is far more likely than any downside that I see in here, especially when you get it moving up 40-something dollars. Now, another busy chart in here, but I'm going to move over to a revised chart in here so you could see the cycle action in here that's a little bit different. And this is more reflective of the shifts that we've had in here. So I wanted to put that in here for you to see. And you can see that what's going on in here, this target zone right here, when it went up to 1788, is formed by the fib projections off of the previous cycle. So you can see that you had this corrective period right in here, pretty sharp, where the dollar had that big upside move as the crisis hit, and a huge move to cash happened right in here. Then what happened was it was likely that so much printing of the dollar was going to occur that you couldn't really, there's nothing to hedge it against except the gold market. And then you got into these upward configured bullish cycle patterns that you see. Now it came down and hit this support. We were looking for that this week. This is a little bit early, and silver goes a little bit later, but that's, you can see it really looks like it's turning up already. Sure, it could come back down one more time in here, but this pattern is forming to point up to the next area up here. This is 1835. The top of it here is about 1875. And of course, in the 1900s is the all-time highs. And if this pattern pans out the way it looks, and you can see the silver coming down here, maybe you get up here to this 1835 area, have that one more correction down that we're talking about, and then it just blasts off to the upside. So this overall, these gold patterns are just immensely positive. So the whole idea of bringing you something different right now is I want to compare gold versus currencies and the relative strengths in there, because I think that is really important information. So I'm going to move a chart in here for you to see that is not one that I really have shown before. And this is gold. I'm showing you gold versus currencies. And in this case, this is the relative strength of gold versus the DXY. So if I click on here, we're looking at relative strength of the DXY. You can see that note come up there for you. And so in other words, how strong is gold compared to the dollar? And relative strength wise. So this is the gold chart, which is the candlestick. But relative strength wise, it's been gaining, but it's not gaining all that much. It's gaining on relative strength, and these last couple of days it really started to. So gold, you can see the relative strength here versus the dollar. And this is a monthly chart that we're looking back, which goes back 10 years. So we're taking in the all-time high over here at around 19.25, and you can see that the relative strength is way down here between the gold and the dollar compared to where it was right up over here. So that tells you that the dollar basically, gold has not been keeping up with the dollar relative strength wise, though it's been improving in here, as you can see. So there's more important information in here. In order for gold to really tick up against the dollar, it's going to mean that the relative strength is going to have to be much better. However, here's the however. When I bring this in, which is gold against all of the other major currencies, each one of these is a gold chart. Each one of these is a currency chart with a relative strength compared to gold. So when we're going to look at each of these. Remember, each one of these is a gold chart. Here's the high right over here at when it made 1925, right? Gold right over here, and gold coming up here and threatening at that point. But look at the relative strength in here, and I'm going to show you what each one of these are. This is the relative strength against the euro. So you can see gold relative strength making leaps against the euro currency. This one right over here, gold relative strength against the Japanese yen. Super strong, as you can see in there. That means that people who want to buy gold in the euro or want to buy gold in the Japanese yen have to pay record prices right now. Here's gold in the Aussie, record prices that you have to pay to buy gold. Here is gold right over here as we look at the British pound, way, way above that area where it was at 19.25. Here is against the Canadian dollar. Look at that. I mean, it's so much farther above than where it was here at 19.25. And here you could see it at the, when we compare it against the Swiss franc, just now getting above where it was relative strength-wise against the Swiss franc. So what I'm showing you in here is that every one of the major currencies, every one of them, gold has just immense relative strength against it. And that is a sign that once the dollar softens, once the world gets the picture that the gold market is that the dollar market is breaking or is losing that strength against these other currencies, then this relative strength against the dollar is going to soar, and you're going to see the price of gold versus the US dollar, which is another currency. You're going to see the price of gold at record highs. I mean, to me, it's just absolutely screaming when you look at these other currencies, how much more money they have to pay in order to get to buy gold compared to what's going on in the U.S. The first sign that the gold price is giving it up, that the dollar is giving it up, and gold is just going to go through the roof, and gold is acting like it's already deciding to do that when you look at this. So that is your gold versus the metals, gold versus the other currencies, relative strength, and it really speaks to the possibility of gold just flying by some huge numbers as soon as the dollar weakness shows up. And I'm telling you, there's a high probability it's going to show up. Yes, I could be wrong. I'm reading these charts, and it's just so much screaming at me that it's right based on these correlations. But I could be wrong, and maybe the dollar takes off on the upside, and this is delayed for some while. It would only be because there's a collapse going in Europe that could happen. I think it's a relatively low probability. So that is a look at gold.